Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about Fae Farm. And at first glance, this game just looks like another farm sim with RPG elements, and well, it is. Something similar to like Animal Crossing, Stardew Valley, Harvest Moon. I don't know about you guys, but I genuinely enjoy those kinds of games. They're easy to pick up, they're very addicting, they have a fun little gameplay loop. So if this is just like another run-of-the-mill game, why has Fae Farm consumed so much of my life? Yeah, I haven't really stopped playing Fae Farm since I installed it. Any afternoon that I have free time, I'm playing Fae Farm. I'm genuinely having really long play sessions where I'm losing the better part of 2 to 3 hours at a time, and it really only feels like 30 minutes. What came off as just another clone, to me, has really shown itself to be something wholly unique and endearing, and it really just goes to show the great lengths that, well, Phoenix Labs went through just so they could deliver a somewhat deep and incredibly addicting farm sim. So let's dive right into Fae Farm. The Isle of Azoria has invited you to join their community. Through a message in a bottle. Okay. You set off to make a new life in Azoria only to find the island is riddled with storms and wild magic, and it wrecks every boat that tries to dock or tries to leave. And it turns out that the people of Azoria have kind of been stuck there for quite a long time now. Something happened and the island has turned hostile and nobody seems to be able to figure it out, and nobody can leave or show up. Well, until you arrived, apparently. The first person you're going to meet is the mayor, and she's genuinely the exact opposite of Tom Nook. She is Bizarro Nook. This lady just confesses her community's absolutely crap. It's hostile. She never expected anybody to answer the messages she personally tossed into the ocean. And then she just kind of like gives you a house. Like, hey, thanks for making it all the way here. Make sure you lock your doors at night. Sidebar. This lady runs the community. She is the leader of the community. Do you think anybody was just slightly concerned at the sight of this mayor, the leader, throwing in like 15 to 20 bottles with messages into the ocean? Like, she just ran out of all ideas and she's just genuinely like, here we go. This is what I've come to. So she gives you a house, a partially furnished one with a rather sizable plot of land, a shed with some seeds, a livestock shed, all the tools to get started, pickaxe, shovel, scythe, axe, all of it right up front. Here you go. Then we start the missions. The missions start off rather simple, and really you're just getting your bearings around town. You need to meet the other important merchants and neighbors that you need to talk to for certain resources. Eventually, you get things like the bug catching net and the fishing pole from those respective merchants, and those also have missions that teach you how to use those. It's your basic farm sim setup. But one thing I really enjoyed is the jump mechanic. And hear me out before you turn away, please. It really opens up the map and lets you just thoroughly explore it more, because there are hidden items throughout the map. Plus, it's just really nice to get around things like your crops, which most games, because you're generally boots to ground in most of these farm sim games, actually lets you jump over your crops and stuff, and you don't have to walk around it. I know that sounds lazy, but I love that. In the beginning, you're kind of limited in what you're able to do. Your abilities are kind of slim to none, so you just have a lot of time to move land around your plot. Clear some trees, break some rocks. You'll need to monitor your energy because, yeah, you have to monitor your energy, as all that renovating actually comes at an expense. Thankfully, you've learned how to cook over an incredibly meager, bonfire, and you probably have some roasted greens or berries to eat. They don't restore a ton of energy, but it's enough to keep you going till the end of the day. Generally, the day ends at around 11 o'clock, and you don't have a choice. The game just stops and says, hey, have a great night. And this is where I think Fae Farm loses me just a little bit. It's really crazy how quick the day moves. It really requires you to think about your next day while you're doing that day. Like, there's a lot of pre-planning that you have to think about. On the other hand, I really enjoy how it doesn't lock you into the time clock like Animal Crossing, which makes each day and progression so incredibly slow and so excruciatingly long. At the same time, I don't enjoy these padded moments that Fae Farm likes to throw in there. There's quite a few of them that you'll run into. When you're crafting items, it takes time to craft those items. And yes, you can go and run and do other missions and just have a full day and come back to those stations. But if you had a plan for the day and you're trying to craft stuff to use that day, good luck. Good luck. It's not going to happen. So here's how it goes. I grew some crops. I got my first livestock, a Chiku named Peckham. I didn't name him that. The game just kind of named him that. And I start clearing more stuff from my land. I get rid of all the rocks and all the logs and all this extra just like rubbish that's laying around. I start decorating my land. What they don't explain right away, it is explained to you in a mission, is that your decorations actually have their own effects. When it comes to interior decoration in your home, that is. Using certain combinations can increase your base health, stamina, or magic, which is rather useful, especially that stamina part. Now I'm at the point of the game where I get a magic staff, which... yeah, no, that's not magic, that's just a blunt weapon. But thankfully, I guess it clears the thorns that have like kind of riddled the island, so that's nice. Does this seem like Dreamlight Valley to anybody else? Okay, I've unlocked the mines, the saltwater mines. This is like a whole new aspect of the game opening up now. I'm always one for spelunking, so you bet I went into the mines and started taking resources. But these are all new. Like, there's copper and iron and other rare gems just like everywhere. They're literally littered around the place. But there's also enemies. That's new. I thought I was just gonna farm in this and marry somebody eventually. Oh, okay, I guess that can wait. Each run through the dungeon starts you at the top, with more rare resources further down in the mine. Advancing through the mines is actually rather simple. You're just breaking rocks until you find the switch that's hidden on the floor. You can unlock floors permanently, however, by crafting seals. You'll need to put one on each floor. You can't skip one. But it does make those next following runs even more productive because now you're not having to run through those floors. You just run to the waypoint, click on the floor you want to go to, bam, you're there, and you've saved all that stamina for further down. Combat is fairly fun, if not just a bit basic at the beginning. As you progress through the levels of the mines, you'll come across a variety of enemies that are comprised of items brought to life by the island's rampant magic. Pocket watches, chests, ship wheels, somehow controlled by octopuses that somehow float around, have just come to life and now lurk the levels of the mines. Disposing of them is fairly easy, and it's fairly easy even in larger groups. I don't really feel like combat's supposed to be the key selling point of this game, and it definitely doesn't feel like the strong point either. That being said, I personally found the repetition of exploring the dungeon and getting a little further each time really addicting. Maybe it's the, hurt me daddy roguelite masochist in me, but no, it's probably that. So, this is the basic loot for Fae Farm. Upgrade your farm, grow and harvest crops, raid the dungeons, get those resources, rinse and repeat, make money, just over and over and over. At this moment, I have yet to fully crack into everything that Fae Farm has to offer. It honestly starts to feel like a lot. There's so much to keep track of, especially once you start unlocking the other farm locations. There's so much to do. Thankfully, there are some things you can craft that help automate parts of your day or just make it slightly easier. Like a ton of time in the beginning you'll be spending doing basic chores and prepping every single morning. But in the end, the ideal goal is just to become more efficient with each day, and that is fun in itself. The social aspects of the game are severely lacking and are really the worst aspect of this game, I hate to say it. The NPCs really don't have much personality at all. They come across as kind of generic, and even worse, they just recycle lines over and over and over. Like, I don't know how many times I went up to an NPC and they talked to me about their favorite band, Muse. Or maybe they were talking about the Muses. I'm not really sure, but they just kept recycling the same lines. And even when you get to the really further social aspects of the game where you're having to date them and stuff, like you learn a little bit about them on the dates. But in the end, they just end up marrying you and moving on to their farm. Like they just move on to your farm kind of uninvited, and then they just pretend like they've never met you before. Like every time you come across them, they're just like, hey, you're new here. Like, I know you. We're married. This is the worst part of the game, in my opinion, and you can really just avoid it if you want to. I know I did once I got to a certain point of realization that this wasn't going to go much further. What I think is one of Fae Farm's strongest attributes is its art direction. Albeit, There's something incredibly basic about your character. Like when you're in the character creation suite, there is something really generic about it. It almost looks like something similar to like a My Sims game. I mean, they even speak their own language. It's kind of like Simlish. The environments, however, are amazingly well detailed with vibrant hues everywhere. For me, it's almost a soft appearance, almost like a watercolored storybook. It performs pretty well too. I didn't have any bugs or graphical errors on my end. I have heard of bugs reported from other people. And just so we're clear, I played this on a new laptop that I got from a pawn shop, an Acer Nitro 5. This was really just for me to test it out, but it ran great. I ran it on medium settings and really it looked just as good as the high settings on my desktop computer. So good job there. Now, again, I've only scratched the surface of what Fae Farm offers, so this review is solely from my viewpoint of what I've experienced. There's still multiple seasons that bring about changes to the landscape, other events and missions, new areas, new farms, new characters, new dungeons, magic. I didn't want to rush through the game because this doesn't feel genuine to how I play stuff. The game already moves really quick as it is, so again, I can really only speak to my own experience with the game, having spent the better part of like 15-ish hours with it, 15 to 20, depending. But damn, beyond the social aspects, I really enjoy what Fae Farm brings to the table. Yeah, it's a simple farm sim, but it streamlines so many of the features, and that's something I never realized I wanted. I've always enjoyed Harvest Moon and Animal Crossing games, and yeah, I buy every single yearly iteration of Harvest Moon or whatever farm sim game that comes out just because I enjoy that cycle. But the lifestyle improvements that Fae Farm delivers really scratch that itch quicker and with more immediate satisfaction compared to the others. That sense of accomplishment kicks in so much quicker. Give me more! However, the game is just a bit overwhelming with every new aspect that gets added. It's overwhelming. It's too much. It's too much responsibility for one person. I personally would have just enjoyed if this game had focused solely on the farm sim stuff and less about the dungeon crawling and the life sim stuff, or maybe just paid more attention to the life sim and dumped the dungeon crawling stuff altogether. And again, that's not to discredit the dungeon crawling part. I already mentioned that was probably my favorite part, and it's incredibly addicting. It just feels like Fae Farm stretches itself a bit too thin in other aspects because maybe those got the least amount of focus when it came to development time. I'm just speculating here. It's obvious they spent a lot of time on the farm sim part, but the life sim and the combat doesn't really feel as refined by comparison. Now, something I did want to address is the price point. I've seen quite a few detractors from this game, rightly so, talking about the price point because if you buy this on Steam, it's a $40 game, which really feels like the sweet spot in terms of a price that feels appropriate for this game based on what it offers. However, if you're on Nintendo Switch, this game is $60, and apparently that comes with like 2 content packs, and one doesn't come out till next month, and the other one doesn't come out till next year. So I don't really think that's worth it, in my opinion. $40 to $50 might have been a better spot for this to sit. So that's it. I cannot speak highly enough about Fae Farm. I'm going to try and keep playing this one, and I think I might even follow up a couple months from now with a part 2 that just kind of goes further into detail about what I was able to experience with the game. It's really nice to see a lot of people are enjoying this game. I've seen a couple detractors, which it's fine. We're all allowed to not enjoy a game just as much as we are allowed to enjoy a game. But I'm glad that this game is getting credit where credit is due. If you are interested in checking out Fae Farm, it is available on Steam as well as Nintendo Switch. I don't know if there's a physical version yet, but if there is, I would definitely grab the physical version over a digital copy. Long live physical media. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this content, feel free to give me a like. Feel free to subscribe to the channel. I upload reviews every week, as long as nothing terrible happens to me. And I just want to thank you guys so much for watching. I've really noticed that the audience has grown tremendously within just the past couple videos. And I really just started this channel for fun and to get my thoughts out there and to just be creative again. And it's really nice to see that I'm actually genuinely connecting with people. So I just want to thank you guys so much for watching. You have a great one. Have a great night.